This is really interesting. What is this made out of? I'm not sure. Copper? Oh, that's old. Oh, that is just sad. That sweet little boy in the middle of the night in a snowstorm asking Santa for a present, and all he gets is that crappy little doll. These are so beautiful and collector's items. These aluminum bowls. Just beautiful. Is it me or does she look annoyed? Oh, wow, now there's a great gift. Never peel a hard-boiled egg again. Oh my goodness, nothing says I love you like giving them the gift of eggies. Wow, that looks like a good book. Family Pictures, and on the front of the book is no pictures. Faith makes all things possible. Faith. When you believe in something without proof. Thank you so much for coming back and seeing me and Desi, and I hope you had a good holiday week. I'm doing something a little bit different this week. We're all maybe just a tad bit stressed. We're out doing last minute shopping. We're wrapping. We're trying to arrange our schedules around perhaps some parties and doctor's appointments and, I don't know, trips to Paris. Okay, anyway. I was watching a YouTube video the other night, and my friend Tammy came up as, a recommended video from YouTube, and it was 19 random things about me, and it was 11 years old, but I had to watch it, and I was riveted. I watched the whole video, and I loved every answer she gave. Now, I will link Tammy's channel below in case you don't know who I'm talking about. When you watch somebody week after week, year after year, you do feel like you know them and you care about them. And I don't know, when you care about somebody, you want to know everything about them. That's how I feel about you. So I'm hoping that at the end of the video, you'll kind of tell me a few things that you never told me before. A lot of you have been with me almost 9 years. And I know a lot about a lot of you, but I don't know everything. When I was growing up, my mother would always say, now stop and think, what would Jackie Kennedy do? I have no idea why, but I never kick back and have a couple beers and put my feet up and watch a movie. I just can't do that. I'm busy all the time. I'm busy in the daytime and I'm busy at night, and it seems I always look back on my day and ask myself before I go to sleep, what did I accomplish today? And I notice the older I get, the more I'm on the go. Now, I did put on a Christmas movie 2 nights ago, but it was because I had all these presents for my family to wrap. And I enjoyed that. I was wrapping presents and watching a movie, but it's very difficult for me to just sit and do nothing. And I have no idea why. How about you? Can you sit and do nothing? So many of you have asked what type of pottery I have on my mantle, and it is Roseville USA Pottery, and that's not to be confused with the Roseville Art Pottery. I've really enjoyed my trips, scavenging through the different thrift stores here at Christmas time and talking to people and finding the most unique things for Christmas decorations. So I've really enjoyed that a lot. yes, if I was pressed, I would say my worst fault is that I'm too hard on people, perhaps. I demand a lot of myself, and I take those same standards and I apply it to coworkers or friends. And it's hard for me sometimes to not say what I'm thinking. And especially if someone is coming to me for validation and they want me to say, oh, you did a wonderful job and here's a trophy or something like that. I can't do that. I've tried and I break out in hives. I love people. I love my family. I love my friends. And it seems the older I get, I just don't seem to have a filter. If I feel it, if I think it, I say it. Oh boy.
There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice. And that's as it should be. Good. Love for a lifetime. I would take a week. A week sounds good.
August 1978. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful morning. I had put on my wedding dress and I had my hair done up, and it was so pretty with little baby's breaths all throughout my little bun that was on top of my head. And I realized that morning that I loved someone else. I loved another man, and I wasn't marrying him that day. I was marrying someone else. And whenever I look back on those pictures of my marriage, I look so sad, but not just sad. I look curious. I look like, what have I done? And how is this going to turn out? It was as if I knew what I was doing was going to affect me and my son and my life. But what I couldn't have known at the time was I just thought, I'll work it out. And this is my problem alone, never realizing that by marrying a man that I did not love, that I was not in love with, that was going to hurt him. That was going to affect our whole marriage. And it isn't something that you can fix. I used to think when I was young that I had all the time in the world to fix anything that I did wrong. And that is completely incorrect. I was selfish, and I honestly didn't know. I just thought, I told people I'm getting married today, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to marry this man. He's a fine man, and he loves me, and I will grow to love him, and I did. But it caused so much pain down the road. Because it wasn't the right kind of love, the kind of love that would sustain a marriage through the highs and lows, the riches and the poverty of not loving someone as completely as you should.
Oh, dear Santa, this is all I want, is a great big bottle of Tylenol to get me through. Desi, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for a walk? It's pretty cold outside.
Every time I watch one of these channels that tell people how to get views or how to get subs or, how to make their content more charming or blah, 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 I watch them because I usually like the man or the woman who's talking, but there's always something that makes me uncomfortable about how it seems calculated. It seems like it's a business decision that I'm going to try to be more honest and I'm going to try to make you like me more. I don't know. There's something about that just rubs me the wrong way. If I had to have a roadmap on how to get you to like me, I would be in a lot of trouble, and a GPS couldn't even help me. The advice that I hear about make your videos longer, make them shorter, have an end card. I don't know. Get a cute dog. It makes me uncomfortable. And I understand that YouTube is a business now for many, many people. They have a crew and they have consultants and they have agents. I have Desi. That's it. And I have you.
Okay, you had like 20 treats today and you're mad at me because I won't give you any more treats. You know, don't you want to keep a nice figure? No? What's your hat say? Your hat says, bah humbug. Is that how you feel? I think so.
I've had a lot of dogs in my life, and they've all been fantastic. But I think Desi is the sweetest. He's not the bravest. He's not the smartest. He's not the cleanest. He's a little hairy mess. But I swear, I can see his heart, and he is the sweetest boy. I know he's a gangsta. He does steal a few things now and then, especially if cheese is involved. But he's the sweetest boy. I need to keep the lights on here. I need to buy software for editing. I need better lighting. I need microphones. Well, you know the drill. And that costs money. And so that's why I do sponsored videos. And I do know that some of you don't like it. And I understand that. I try to do as little as possible. And I've had some people suggest to me, well, why don't you have a Patreon? And I used to. You know, that's where you have a little website and people sign up for it and then they donate money every month. And that way you don't have to take any sponsored videos. And it keeps the lights on with your channel. The problem with that is that you have to offer like a bonus video or, you know, something special for those that can afford to join your Patreon page. So that means that, you know, some of you that have money could belong, but others can't. There are so many of you out there that are just on Social Security. You can't afford $10 a month to watch Desi do backflips. It didn't seem fair. I don't want to do that. I don't want to ever ask you for money. There's no link down below here, you know, with a PayPal. There's no Patreon. I just want you to come here and have fun. And maybe 6 or 7 times a year, I'm going to do a sponsored video. And they're going to pay me money to talk about something that I love, a product that I love that I think you'll love too. And then they're going to give me a discount so you can get that too. So when you see me doing a sponsored ad, it's not out of greed. I'm not trying to get you to part with your money. It's just the opposite. I just want to keep the lights on here. That's all. I have never studied acting. I have never had a part in a play. I've never wanted to be an actress because I can remember lyrics. I cannot remember lines. No way. If somebody gives me a script, forget it. I can't do that. My brain, I don't work that way. So sometimes when I talk, I think you have made comments like, well, were you ever an actress? I mean, sometimes I feel like you're on stage and you're doing a monologue and I really like it, but you must have been an actress. I'm thinking, no. But I thought about this because more than, one person a week says this to me. So I kind of went back into the vault, and I think I mentioned to you that when I was growing up, I sort of raised myself from 10 years old on, and my mom worked 2 jobs, so I didn't have any brothers or sisters. So what I had was a TV and a piano. And back in the 60s, we only had 3 channels, and they always ran these very glamorous, romantic Bette Davis movies, and I loved them. I loved her fur coats and her jewelry, and I loved how she could just raise one eyebrow and speak so dramatically, and she'd have these big... Anyway, when you're raising a child, the child will sort of pick up your cadence and the way that you speak. Well, my mom was gone all the time. So I think the television almost raised me. Maybe you could say Bette Davis raised me. But I think I picked up some of that dramatic cadence in the voice and in those pauses. And I don't do them consciously. That's just who I am. And if you ask my very best friends, is there a difference in the way that I talk on camera to how I talk in person? And they'll say absolutely not. Although they do say that I'm funnier in person than I am on camera. But looks aren't everything. Anyway, I'm sorry. I think that's the key, is that as a child, I was raised by movies. And so perhaps some of my speech and my mannerisms, my affectations come from maybe watching Some Like It Hot too many times with Marilyn Monroe. Or, who else did I like? Oh, Katharine Hepburn. I loved her. I loved the way that she moved. Have I told the man that I'm in love with that I love him? No. And people will say, well, does he watch your videos? I have a lot of men friends that I just love with all my heart, and they do watch my videos. None of them have said anything, but I do wonder. I do wonder what they're thinking. It's like The Bachelor gone wrong. I don't know. But no, I haven't told him. I don't know if I ever will.
Now there's a good book. Just Married, a sexy, irreverent, eye-opening look at how we met, dated, and married, by Barry and Marlo Gray, who got a divorce a year after they wrote this book.
There's one scene in the movie E.T., the Steven Spielberg movie, and it's basically for kids, isn't it? And so E.T., the little boy puts E.T. on his bicycle, and they have to make sure that E.T. gets to the forest, and therefore he can go home, because if they don't get him to the forest, he won't be able to make it home. And the little boys, here I go, I'm going to cry. Here the little boys are on their bikes, and it's like magic. All of a sudden, the bikes just levitate and they start flying. When those bikes levitate and they start flying, it always brings me back to those days when I was a little girl and my childhood was so dark and so troubled. And I would get on my bike and I would just ride and ride and ride. And I felt happy and I felt like I could fly. And I had to be home by 8 o'clock at night, but I pushed it every spare second I could get to just ride that bike. And I would pray and I would dream that I could fly away on my bike. So every time I see that scene in the movie E.T., I cry. I remember when I saw that film with my little boy. He was so little, and he was with his friends, and he wasn't sitting with me. He was actually in another aisle, and he didn't cry. He just smiled, And that made me feel that I had broken that cycle of sorrow and abuse. The sorrow of my childhood. It was broken. And he could see that scene and be happy and not relate to more than anything as a child. You just wanted to fly away.
Can make it a wonderful life, one person at a time.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I loved every second of it. And I think Desi did too, except the part where he has to wear his bah humbug hat. But if you get time below, could you share maybe a few things that not a whole lot of people know about you? Please have yourself a wonderful Christmas week. And when you're done with your week, please come back and say hey to me and Desi, okay? All right, it's a deal. We'll be here. Merry Christmas.
There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice. And that's as it should be.